George Bush threw from the fucking mound, not in front of the mound, threw a fucking strike with a little heat on it, didn't bounce it in, and the man was wearing a sports, or not a sports coat, but like a zip up wind fly thing with a bulletproof vest under it, of course, because it's like a week after 9/11.
President. Wasn't he a baseball player or something? Like
he owned a baseball team. Does that count?
Maybe I didn't know if he did that because he loved it.
He owned the Rangers, or at least a significant portion of them. I don't recall if he played baseball, but I watched this thing recently where it was him being interviewed, and he's talking about like, I wasn't nervous at all. I can throw a ball. I was downstairs under Yankee Stadium, and they had a thing set up for me so I could throw, and I was throwing. Everything was going well, and Derek Jeter walked in. This is George Bush talking. And Derek Jeter walked in. He's like, "Hey, hello, Mr. President. How are you?" "Great, Derek. How are you tonight?" Just to let you know, Mr. President, are you throwing from in front of the mound or on the mound? He's like, "Well, I was going to throw from in front of the mound." You don't want to do that. Not in front of this crowd. They'll boo you. And I'll tell you what else. Don't bounce it, or they'll boo you for that too. He's like, and now I'm nervous. Derek Jeter just said that they're going to boo me out of Yankee Stadium if I don't throw it from on the mound, which I hadn't been prepared for, and they're going to boo me if I bounced it in.
Thousands of people disliking me all around the country. I don't know if that's something I can handle for the next 8 years.
But this was at the height of like Bush mania, though, right? Like he had stood on the rubble with the fucking megaphone. He had bombed some shit already. I think maybe at this point, like we were a oorah mode, and he came out there, and to his credit, say what you want about murdering 1 million Iraqis and all, and that $1 trillion conflict, but
that hadn't happened yet.
He fucking threw a strike with a little zip on it as like a 50-something-year-old man.
I think W has the best politician first pitch I can think of.
Best I can think of.
Throw one? I feel
like Trump didn't he?
Did he throw one?
I think he threw one. I think he lobbed it in from in front of the plate, and it was fine. It wasn't embarrassing. I have that memory. Maybe it's just some sort of like one of those things where you remember something that never happened, like Berenstein syndrome or something.
Yeah.
But I have a memory of him throwing a pitch and it being okay. Like maybe it was high or something. He didn't throw a strike, but like I have a memory of him throwing one.
Okay, so I'm watching him throw one, and it was definitely good. But the one I'm looking at is from 2004, so it was like way before his presidency.
Yeah,
and like many pounds ago, as far as like body and weight, and
it's a weird thing to be asked to do, right?
So as president, he is the first president in 109 years to not throw a first pitch.
Oh man,
Smart.
Yeah, that probably was smart. He knew he was too fat.
I literally have the memory of him doing it, which is bizarre. I swear, I can picture him in one of those big, bulky suits he wears with the long,
looking like who's the Chris Christie,
looking like he's at a tombstone. Dude, I'll never forget seeing Chris Christie in person and thinking like, God damn, Donald Trump is a fit man.
Like, you saw it? Oh, that's right. You went to the rally.
Yeah. Like seeing Chris, like. I still have it in my head. Maybe it's just a good joke that like Donald Trump only kept him around the campaign back in those days because he made him look so slim. Because Chris Christie had this fupa, like he, they do this thing. They were sitting in chairs, the two of them. The chairs kind of cocked away from each other and pointed inward, both with mics in hand. Kind of it was very folksy. It was very town hall like. And Chris Christie had those like suspender socks that have the things that clamp onto them to keep them pulled way up, and they're like. Had some goofy pattern on them, and his pants are riding way up into his fupa area, and like you can clearly make out like not dick and balls, but like this big wad where they should be, and like he's just sweating, and there's Donald Trump over there looking fit by comparison, not looking ridiculous. His suit fits him very well, even when sitting. I'm sure like also, when he's getting a suit fitted, he's like, now let's see what it looks like when I sit down.
I think Trump gained a bunch of weight towards the end of the campaign and beginning of the presidency. Like so that too. Period is, and in his defense, it is hard to eat well and travel.
Yeah,
maybe for him there's a whole different set of rules, but I just, if you're on the road eating whatever they serve you on the airplane, it's gonna be garbage food.
It is his plane, though.
I know, that's where I was getting to that with maybe the rules are different at that level, but. I know if you put me on the road and I eat at restaurants, it's hard to have abs.
Dude, presidential first pitches used to be retarded. Like, apparently it's like not it's like fairly recently in regard to presidents that like the first pitch used to be they would sit in the stands and just toss it to the guys playing, or they would turn around and toss it to the people in the stands. It's only like a few decades ago that they let him go to the mound and start throwing. Apparently Bill Clinton had a pretty good one too.
Jimmy Carter has a pretty good one. There's a presidential first link pitches that Zach linked.
Yeah.
And Carter's is as good as W's.
I would say no. If I were the president and they asked me to throw the first pitch, I would say no. There's very little gain and so much to lose.
I would find someone who was I would use all the technology I had to like get a really good pitcher who just retired the year before and put a bunch of prosthesis on him and then send him out there. And they're going to be like, God damn, what a fit president.
97 miles per hour from Taylor, from President Taylor. Good Lord, sign this man up. You see the movement on that ball?
Yeah,
I wonder.
He was through a breaking ball.
I never played. I never played a throwing sport. I'd probably
putting him in.
He's like, well, I did a great job. What'd they say? I'm thinking about leaving the Oval Office for something that pays a little better. That's a fun little tradition. Other sports don't really have that, I guess, because they're not structured in the same way.
Imagine putting a president on skates and having him do like the annual first slap shot.
Oh my God! Now Donald Trump out on the ice to make the historic first save. They put him in goalie equipment out there.
He's just like,
oh, that would be a true test of metal.
Or boxing? What about boxing? If he was going to go out there and like
throw the first punch, and
throw the first punch. And the first punch will be thrown by Donald Trump.
I hate this job.
Foreman's down.
Foreman's down.
Donald like whispers to Mike. He's like, Tyson, you got to take the dive here, right? You know you're going down, right?
That's right, Mr. President.
That's right, Mr. President. You know how absolutely terrible I can make your life, right?
Right. And we take another look at those rape charges.
Do you really want to be audited?
Yeah, just a weak pillow-armed bullshit punch. I don't think. How far would you have to go back for a president to be able to throw a good, solid punch?
All right. During their presidency,
Gerald Ford, maybe. I bet he could throw it. Yeah, during the presidency.
Bill Clinton. I think first term Bill Clinton. I bet first. I mean, we know he choke a bitch out. We heard the stories
with his.
Yeah. He was quite the rapist.
Like he handled Paula Jones like she was nothing.
Yeah,
shoved her against that wall.
I bet Obama could throw a punch because to me he's like
he was younger. Yeah,
he was in his 40s and he was still actively playing basketball.
Sure.
It's something about basketball to me. I played it. It's fucking exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
You can't hide. You can't glide down the ice not working like you can in hockey.
You definitely like.
It's like playing soccer.
Obama's the best cardio president we've had in a long time.
Thinking w was good too.
Yeah, I guess W was fit. I'm just thinking of like Roosevelt, not the crippled one. Like he seemed like a tough cookie. Gerald Ford looked like when he was younger, at least he was built like a brick shit house.
He was, yeah.
Like he looks pretty big. And then there's a bunch of there's no way Nixon could throw a punch. There's no way Carter could. No, man, most of our presidents aren't very cool at all.
Yeah, a lot of them are kind of academic, studious types.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
or they have their parents. Yeah,
I wish they were more academic. Like I feel like George Bush wasn't the smartest whip. You know,
don't you dare.
His dad was pretty bright, I thought.
His dad was sketchy. I don't know.
Of course, he was sketchy. Wasn't he the head of the CIA?
I was about to say the guy that ran the CIA probably shouldn't be running the country right after. That seems like a sketchy.
As if he wasn't running it from the head office of the CIA.
I'm thinking to me, Obama. I'm almost taking back. Obama was a very studious, like academic-minded president, and that didn't always serve him well. Most of them, though, are EQ presidents.
Yeah,
you know, Bill Clinton was an emotional guy. EQ, emotional quotient, right?
Yeah.
Ability to relate to people. I know you guys know. I'm talking to the audience.
Yeah.
And so Clinton was high on that. W was super high on that. Reagan was super high on that. Trump, I think he's all about relating to his audience. He's an EQ guy. Biden's an EQ guy. Not like in recent history, that's what it takes to win elections and be a politician, not so much constitutional scholar.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the kind of people who front the money to get people elected president, like they don't want some goofy Poindexter nerd. They're not going to like the Sheldon Adelson or whoever isn't going to put $100 million behind some like geeky, like I've got a plan to make our roads safer. Like they want someone who's going to be emotional.
I mean, look at Ronald Reagan, right?
Yeah.
That's your
great communicator.
That's your poster boy for EQ. And like just populace over substance, right? Like the guy was a movie star. He was a fucking movie cowboy.
How big of a movie star was he before? A really big one or like a middling star?
He was, B movies.
Yeah, okay. I mean, he did a lot of westerns and shit. Like he was known. He was no Clint Eastwood. Wasn't Charles Bronson or anything.
So his movies were from before my time, but it's my understanding he was like straight to VHS kind of actor before VHS, but like that was the kind of movies he made.
But enough so that like he was a known entity like already. Like oh yeah, Reagan. Yeah. I think he was one of those like campfire singing cowboys. But yeah, I don't know. That's a humiliating first throw by Conor McGregor, but though back to where we started.
Yeah, for how athletic he is, like
that's
if you're
not
that
his
athletic,
sport.
I imagine, but like he clearly has like a natural athleticism. Like anyone who's in the UFC or the NBA or whatever, like I imagine you take them, you put them in a different scenario, they're naturally better than someone picked off the street. Like they have a good mechanics, like good mind-body connection with their muscles and the tension and everything.
It's like a snap. Like I'll give you a perfect example. I bet a guy who can swing a bat is going to fuck up a slap shot. Like I don't understand. I know how to swing a baseball bat. I bet I could go get in a batting cage right now and do okay.
Mm-hmm.
Man, if you put me on the ice, like forget the ice. You put me on the ice, I'll probably bust my ass. But even if you put me like in like street hockey, I don't really understand the mechanics exactly of that thing. I think I do. I think it's more of a kind of a twisting of the hips and flicking of at the elbow and shoulders.
I guess that is true. Like
there's a lot of wrist in a baseball swing. There's a lot of flick. Mm-hmm. Do you flick your wrist with a slap shot?
With a slap shot, no. You want to keep your
in my
wrist
head. It's more
static.
of a
with a wrist shot. You want to use your wrists, obviously. Yeah, like in my basement, I have the hockey area, and every time people come over and they like have a few drinks, they want to take slap shots, and it is horrifying how people they think it's like taking a golf drive, and so they're like choked up to the top. And it's just now wild and erratic and scary. And it's like, Woody, you've probably experienced this, like where you just like kind of take a street hockey puck or something and you know how to shoot a wrist shot and it just feels intuitive. It feels like, how do you not know how to do it? And you see other people and they do that thing where they like start the blade on the ground 8 inches behind the puck and they just go, just like slap at it. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, how do you know?
The way you do it for non-hockey players is you're bending the stick against the ground, mm-hmm. and then it's as it straightens, it flips through.
Ooh.
So on a slap shot, you're hitting kind of just behind the puck really hard, and it bends a whole lot and powers through. On a wrist shot, it's the same thing, but you're almost loading it in a concentrated way, like in a purposeful way. You sort of bend it against the ground and then flip it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm getting at with mechanics, how they just don't translate. Like that. That's the guy who throws punches. I mean, has he ever? The concept of throwing that ball, like
his shoulders aren't even.
And he's wearing that goddamn suit.
I bet it would have been like at least 50% better without the suit.
It had to have been better. There's no way the suit didn't hurt him. But yeah, he looked like a jabroni. That's embarrassing.
I was looking up how big a star Reagan is. It is really hard to get a non-political answer. There's some people. He was a B movie actor. He was often like in double features and stuff like that is one answer I got. Another guy said he's one of the most successful actors of all time, president of the Screen Guild.
I mean, making him that's
another guy said he was a movie actor that transitioned to television. Think of him as Alec Baldwin, which is bigger than I expected. And I just got every answer and still don't know the truth.
Yeah, I don't know. I used to be friends with a lot of like people who were really big on Reagan, and I was always watching those black and white speeches and like. I don't know. He knew his speeches were so good. His speeches were so good. Like when he's talking about like taxes and stuff like that and unleashing the American industry and stuff like that, you're like, yeah, why don't they do that anymore? And it's like, oh yeah, that ran us into like an enormous amount of debt. Oh yeah, I forgot. I don't know. I don't know how big of a movie star. I don't think I've ever seen a Reagan movie. I've seen clips of them. They're a little cheesy.
With him and a monkey or something, like a chimpanzee.
You're thinking about Every Which Way But Loose with Clint Eastwood.
I don't think so.
He's a truck driver with a chimpanzee? Or maybe it's an orangutan. Clyde, maybe is the monkey's name.
No,
they made a sequel too. They both made movies with monkeys.
Reagan made a movie with it was called Bedtime for Bonzo, and it was a Reagan film with a chimp.
Okay, well, Clint Eastwood also made one called Every Which Way But Loose, where he is a truck driver with a sidekick, I believe orangutan, who rode in the truck with him. And I think there's a scene where the orangutan punches a guy out. it's very funny.
In Bedtime for Bonzo, this Reagan and his wife in bed with a chimpanzee jumping around by their feet as the cover art for the movie. It looks silly.
Fair, okay,
but
decent president, I guess. His wife.
I don't feel qualified to judge. Like you said, he ushered in this, the debt era of America, which I have thought for a long time was going to hurt us, and here we are, 40 years later, just keeping it going. So maybe I don't understand debt. But I mean, certainly the economy turned around underneath him, and should get some credit for that. And I think part of it was because of the tax changes he made, but so is the debt. I don't know the answer.
Yeah,
it's because of the cool westerns. Everybody,
and then I'm told that his wife was running the country for at least a year or two
at the end because of the Alzheimer's.
Isn't that the second time that's happened? Who else did that happen with?
Roosevelt. His dykey wife ran the country for a long time.
Franklin D. When he was
Eleanor Roosevelt ran the country for a while. Yeah.
Okay.
He was president for too long.